Andrew Middicky was very pacey in race one. He starts a little further back. You've got your work cut out with this format. How are you going to do it through the streets of this track?
Well, it's favours to overtake in this track. You've got to have great brakes, and I have that. So I'll just make my way up as far as I can. If I don't get to win the race from P10, well, you know, I won't be disappointed, because the points are a combination of race 2 and 1, and hopefully I'll be somewhere in the front for the last race, which is the money.
It's a place you love to race at, though, don't you?
Oh, I love this place. I love street circuits, and I think Adelaide probably has the best atmosphere of almost any race in Australia.
Pit straight here as the grandstands continue to fill up here on this Clipsal 500 weekend. The first round of the NZ Touring Car Masters this weekend sees Brad Tilley now on pole position. He'll start alongside Tony Hunter for Sunliner RV. Next row we see Cameron Mason and Paul Freestone. The Freestone's diner down there of the Great Ocean Road region, beautiful part of the world. Jason Gomersall and Mark King will start out of row 3 and 5 and 6. We've got Cameron Tilley and Eddie Abel-Nisa starting on the next row. Over the page to Brett Yilden and Glenn Seaton. Great battle with those two yesterday. How about this row? John Bowe and Jim Richards together on the 7th row. Watch for those two guys. Gavin Bullis and Andrew Middicky on row 8. Leo Tobin and Kerry McMahon out of 17 and 18. And Greg Keane and Amanda Sparks, the husband and wife combination, on row 10.
That'll be very interesting. Row 11 here, we got Wayne Mercer and Rowan Little. Row 12, Ian Palmer, Andrew Fisher. Out of row 13, Graham Stewart, Rory O'Neill. And rounding out the 27 car field today is Nigel Benson.
So the cars on their formation lap now. Next time through the centre chicane, it will be on this beautiful 3.2 kilometre Adelaide street circuit. Gavin Bullis and John Bowe have got the most wins at this track, 6 apiece. They're still tied with that, with Andrew Middicky getting onto the board yesterday in race 1. There is Jason Gomersall and Mark King. That battle yesterday decided a position by 5 thousandths of a second at the line.
That was a great battle there. On board here with Greg Crick in his awesome Charger. Great sounding machine.
And we'll give you plenty of opportunities to listen to this brilliant Mopar when it's in full noise. The race starts very soon. Putting some heat into the tyres, even though it's a hot day out there and the track temperature is there, they've still got to put heat into the tyres themselves, don't they?
Absolutely, yeah. You've got to get that pressure up. You've got to get that pressure up so that you've got some sort of grip in the first couple of laps. You'll see these cars squirming around. They've got more opportunity to pass in the first few laps, but everything's cold, you know. You've got no grip. You'll see a lot of the, as we saw yesterday, we saw Fisher have that massive left front lock-up. Luckily, not to run into the back of Kasuki yesterday. That was just down to low tyre pressure and cold tyres.
It could have been big with a capital B, no question about that, as Glenn Seaton we ride aboard. Left-hand drive for Seaton as the safety car gets set to pull in for this one. We lost Tony Karanfilovsky after qualifying, where that car may have damaged a head gasket on there, and also Sven Burkhardt, who's parked up his entry with a suspected broken valve. So 2 cars that won't take part in these races across this weekend, as this field of NZ Touring Car Masters come out of the Clipsal hairpin and get set to take the green flag in race number 2. It's a reverse top half of the field. Looks fairly nice to start here. And the green flag waves in race 2, the NZ Touring Car Masters.
Mason up the outside. Fantastic jump, and Hunter squirming under brakes into turn 1.
Just pulls the car up. Gomersall goes across the centre chicane. And everybody safely through. One of the Porsches just slow into the back there. And Gomersall looks like he's hit the wall. And he's hit the wall in the same spot we saw Hobson yesterday in the Dunlop race and James Golding just earlier. So he's out of this race before we get to turn 4.
Oh, there's Bowe there going really slowly. He might have been caught up in that. Pulling off to the left-hand side. You just saw in the background Gomersall just going down the escape road, getting that car off the racetrack. Hopefully we'll stay here under green conditions, but Bowe must have been in trouble there. There it is, the damage on the front of Mustang Sally. Not a great start, and I can hear the safety car coming out. Here we go.
That's down at turn 5. That's a blind approach, and the safety car will be called. And a beautiful
Mustang coming out of Glenn Seaton's car too, and a Fisher's car in the background. So you see a bit of smoke here in the Mustang. Massive damage on the front of Cito's car and Fisher's car, so they must have all been involved in that turn 3 incident with Gomersall.
Now, modern day race cars, we're used to seeing that sort of damage, but for these big old cars, that is a big impact for that sort of damage.
It is. These cars are, you know, they're quite heavy. They are a very, very strong car. They don't give like a race car these days, where they're generally built to basically fall apart around you. That's what I said. Glenn Seaton, massive damage on the front of that. I'm just wondering if that was a concertina with Gomersall, Seaton, Bow. They're all around each other. Maybe Gomersall's gone wide into the fence. You can see Seaton here talking on the radio back to the pit. I won't be surprised if I see him come into pit lane.
There'll be some steam on the bifocals of Glenn Seaton as he comes into pit lane, no question about that. He comes in, well, he's going to push on with this. So, will this heat the engine up?
Well, it remains to be seen at the moment. Here we get a replay of the start. Just watch that car on the outside. As you look on the left-hand side, row 2, that red Mustang gets a fantastic jump straight into the lead. Look at that.
Slingshot. It's like an Indianapolis 500 start, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Got that. Absolutely. And I was watching out the window here live. Here we go. This will let us know what happened with... Oh,
dear.
Gomersall's come together.
Now, is it the back here?
Now you watch Seaton there.
They're
Seaton and Bow at the back. Oh, there you go. Seaton's hit the back of Yulden, and I'm sure Bow's hit the back of Seaton. This will tell us.
Oh, dear. On board with Seaton, and bang. Dominoes effect down the field.
And Bowie straight into the back. Couldn't do much about that. Those guys were just trying to do the right thing and stay out of the drama that Jason Gomersall found himself in. Oh dear, I think that is the most damage JB's had on Mustang Sally since he's had it.
It looks so pristine when they rolled it out of the transporter on Wednesday afternoon here at Adelaide. And that's the car you're scheduled to drive.
It is.
At the next round at Symonds Plains in Tasmania. There's this beautifully prepared, once beautifully prepared SLR 5000 of Jason Gomersall, prepared by the Stone brothers. Raced by Matt Stone Racing these days. Gets put on the back of our tilt tray under safety car here in Adelaide.
I think Gomersall and Mark King were there. They might have had a touch through turn 3, and Gomersall's well wide offline, straight into the fence. Cito's smoking very heavily there.
He's going to have to pit because of the left rear is now rubbing on this car. And Andrew Fisher.
You can see that there. That's actually rubber and rubber, part of the tyre construction there, flapping off because it's rubbing hard on that fender. Seaton, the same thing. That's the last thing you want here for Cito and Fisher, is a rubbing left side tyre, especially when it's in your mind coming down to turn 8. It's not going to stead them well, and he's going to have to pit and pull that guard off the tyre, otherwise that will not last 9 laps of the race.
And they can't exactly do pit stops per se like we see in the big show. These guys can only repair cars and hopefully get them back out. So we take a replay one more time of the start. The man on the inside of row number 2 here just launches. That was Cameron Mason.
Wondering if they're looking at that start to see whether he jumped that start or not. It's going to be interesting to see. Now we'll see here. Let's see who's on the left side. There you go, Mark King. They've come together.
Was it King or the car to the right here?
King might have been just behind him there.
Or was it Tilly?
It must have been Tilly, side by side with King. And you could see there from the onboard seat. Watch this, you can't see anything. You can't see Gomersall on the fence. Everyone's on the brakes, bang. Very hard to see in that position. You can actually see more here on the in-car camera than you can when you're actually in the car racing. So one of those situations where very, very hard to make sure that, you know, you just can't see anything. They just could not do anything back there.
The brutal nature of this Adelaide street circuit.
At the back here, you see what they've got there. They've got the jack handle out there, putting it on the tyre, rolling the car back, and that jack handle, as it goes over that bodywork, pulling that bodywork off the tyre. Very NASCAR-style, old-school thing to do, but these cars are old-school.
Exactly. Glenn Seaton, I'm sure he's frustrated.
He might actually be in there telling them what to do. He's got a bit of experience at that.
What a tough break for him. Same too for this guy who's doing double duties this weekend in the V8 Utes as we get some bush mechanic stuff happening.
This is what we don't normally see. Normally in this sort of era in this car, you see a sledgehammer.
Yeah, slide hammer.
You can see there he's got a little hammer. It's actually not moving it at all, so.
And we don't recommend you do this at home to your road car, by the way. Hopefully get this car just enough to get the guard away from the tyre, and hopefully there's no cooling damage to the radiator at the front here. Perhaps it definitely is going to be issues with Seaton's car, because that's right on the front as we see the sad side of Mustang Sally on the back of the tilt tray here. Under safety car, lap 3 of 10, the NZ Touring Car Masters here in Adelaide.
Not a great start for the title defence for the defending champion, but no doubt they'll panel beat that car back, get it squared up, and be ready for the next one.
And of course, all these laps count. Under safety car, they're on board with Greg Crick. So the running order is Mason, Hunter, Tilley, King, Freestone in 5th, Abel Neeser in 6th, Cameron Tilley and Greg Crick, who we're right on board with right now, in the 8th position as Glenn Seaton jumps out of the number 30, the number he ran for so many years. That's an iconic number like we talked about yesterday.
Absolutely. You know, it's great to see these guys able to run their, you know, those numbers that everybody knows them by. You know Dick Johnson by 17. You know Peter Brock by 05. You know Glenn Seaton by 30. You know John Bell by 18. It's fantastic to see, and really brings a little bit of that history to this category, which is all about history.
You would have felt proud to run 17 for so long.
Yeah, you know, like it's one of those things. I think that I probably would have liked to have run my own number, but then...
What would be your own number?
Oh, I don't know.
On the spot?
Number 1 would be nice.
Yeah. Correct answer.
Well, unfortunately, Jamie Winkup's taken that, so...
One day, you'll never know.
Fisher back out there. Let's just see. You're not going to know if this is as we get a few little bits that really don't do anything hanging off there. That was actually part of the fiberglass front splitter. May have even done a little bit of damage. You can see there on the bottom left-hand side of the car. That's the brake duct.
So he's going fairly hard for an outlap here on a car that he doesn't know if there's any more damage on this car.
I don't think that there's going to be too much suspension damage. It's not a hard enough hit. He would have had a bit of an idea from what he felt inside the car. Now the steering wheel, so you can see there the brake duct hanging down. That's going to be probably the worst thing about this damage. That damage to the fender, to the front guard, the headlight is really not going to make too much difference to the performance of the car, but that brake duct will after 2 or 3 laps, especially if that left-hand front brake overheats.
Especially with the hot conditions we've got in Adelaide here today. We start the day under overcast conditions, and then the sun broke through and up went the temperatures. And it's going to be a very warm afternoon here at the Clipsal 500. We're still on the safety car here. And watch this as he hits the centre chicane. We saw 13 drivers lose their times during qualifying for going too far. And a bit of debris comes off the Jesus Racing NZ sponsored Falcon XY GTHO going through the centre chicane. An iconic part of this Adelaide street circuit.
You see they're just dragging on the ground. That's going to get next to no air into that brake, so hopefully he would have been told that there is a problem down there, either on radio or when he was in the pits, getting it worked on to try to get that car squared up with no tyre rubbing. Doesn't look like it's rubbing now, but you know, that brake duct, he's going to have to be very, very careful that A, that doesn't come off and go under the front wheel, and B, that doesn't cook his left front brake.
Fantastic pictures as the lights go out on the safety car here. Cameron Mason will lead us back around. They found a broken shock absorber in this car after yesterday's race, and that got him a fairly nice start for this one. He started out of 3 and will lead us back to the restart soon. Only 2 podiums in his career. He's the youngest driver in the field in the NZ Touring Car Masters at the ripe old age of 28.
Oh. I was waiting for you to say 40 then. I'm like, geez, I've got a chance.
Yes. I think he's underqualified at the moment. So he'll stack the field up as we come up to take the restart and start lap 5. It'll be our first official flying lap around this Clipsal 500 circuit, the NZ Touring Car Masters. Restart 1. Cameron Mason will lead us back to the green flag. Hunter in 2nd. Tilley is 3rd. Mark King is next. Then it's Freestone. Abel Neeser. And looks like Tilley is slowed here. I don't think he grabbed the right gear at the start, and Abel Neeser pounces in Adelaide's cheapest cars entry.
Absolutely, went flying past in there, past our commentary box here. Greg Crick there in front of Kasulki, coming through turn 3, up into Wakefield Street, the end of 4. A lot of the guys here on the inside protecting their line.
So Greg Crick up to 8th position in in this one. The Mopar Charger in the bottom of your screen. Keith Kasulki behind him. Andrew Medicki. Brett Yilden also in that one. But it's Cam Mason looking for his first win.
Tilly way out over the curb on the outside. Freestone there, doing a great job. Tilly's quite fast. Greg Crick actually started 8th. He's actually dropped off the back of these guys quite a bit in the restart here. I don't know whether Greg's got a problem or he's got a problem. Kazuki straight past him down the straight.
Fairly pedestrian, wasn't it?
And now he's got Mason. Sorry.
It's Medicki.
We've got Medicki, but right behind him.
At the same time, Cameron Tilly goes to the inside of Paul Freestone to make the pass stick down at turn 9, the hairpin, and the run back behind the pit complex.
Greg Crick must have a problem. He's just not on the pace. You can just see him there. Medicki behind him is all over him out of the corners.
Everybody eating the curb on the inside of the run to the final turn. As everybody safely through, we'll keep an eye on Greg Crick's car. He's at the background, that shot behind Keith Kasulki. We start lap 6 of 10.
Cam Mason's bolted 2.7 seconds on the first opening lap. Albanese from the inside of King.
That's a good pass.
That was a great pass. It's a very difficult part of the track to pass on. Was able to get up the inside of him with that massive horsepower and make that massive Falcon stick.
I heard some tyres squeal in the background then. It was Hunter that must have ran wide then at the top of Wakefield Street, so he's dropped the position. And let's Brad Tilly.
Tilly up the inside of King. Good move there in the staircase.
Out of turn 7 and the run down Bartels Road.
Now, I've got a feeling that Hunter could be vulnerable down the straight here in that little Monza. We'll see.
The better run you get down here sets you up nicely for turn 9, doesn't it?
It does. He stays ahead of Albanese there. They're packed up through turn 8 here. Oh, Tilly. Massive run down the inside.
And Abel Nisa drives defensively, but they all stack up.
Hunter's lost 4 spots there, or 3 so far, 4 now.
That's Kasulki. But Abel Nisa leads this freight train.
Medicki up the inside now.
And that's another move up, so he's up to 8th position now. And the poor Chevy Monza just going backwards at a rapid rate of knots here.
Yep, and Greg Crick too, as you can see just there. Cricky's been passed by Bullis, been passed by Yulden, been passed by Medicki.
And Jim Richards will be lining up to take the Chevy Monza at the end of this lap. You think that beautiful AMC Javelin. They reel off lap 6, and it's going to be a time certain finish, you'd think. On lap 7, they hit the centre chicane. Abel Nisa out into Wakefield Street. Up to 3rd position now.
Tilly's quick here. That little nimble car is a lot easier on the brakes and the tyres, and surprisingly enough, quite fast in a straight line.
They've settled momentarily here. I won't get too excited yet. It's Kasulki.
Don't put the mocker. You're good at putting the mocker.
I am, aren't I? Freestone, it is ahead, and that's King in the foreground of the shot. Saw him and Gomersall engaged in a great battle yesterday. There is Brett Yilden. They got a big sticker on the boot of this car this weekend, celebrating 100 years of Yilden family racing. Had a look at the other day and saw so many of those cars I watched growing up, like you would have too.
Mason, absolutely. There's a lot of cars there that go back to when I was racing against them. Mason is gone. Mason is 5.5 seconds. Tilly way up on that curb. That curb is massive. You just cannot use that. And you can see there just how much air he got trying to get up the inside of Albanese there.
It used to be a sharp curve down there, but when they put the second roundabout in here for regular traffic, it's now like a dining table. Up to the hairpin. Look at the gap that Mason, 6 seconds. And this will be the final lap of this race. The battle between Tilly, Abel Nisa and Cameron Tilly intensifies on the final lap.
This will be interesting. This is for P2, by the way. So these guys really want to get up there wherever you finish this one in accumulation with, as he's on the inside protecting his line, which you are allowed to do on the last lap. Culmination of race 1 and race 2 determines where you start race 3. And for people like John Bowe, he's going to be well down the pack starting the next race. Tilly now need a nice run through here. Albanese Cam Tilley there behind. Cam Tilley, yeah.
Left himself wide open then, didn't he?
Cam Tilley is fast through turn 8 here. Let's see if he can get a run on Albanese into the braking area for turn 9. Probably a little bit too far back at the moment. But Madecki there behind.
So he's made up 8 positions in this one as Tilley tries it again. And that was a good pass. Kasulki gets on the inside of Freestone.
There's Madecki on the outside of Freestone, as we see Cam Mason.
He left him. 6.7 seconds it was last time around. And Cameron Mason, he's only ever had 2 podiums in his NZ Touring Car Masters career. He comes back to pit straight and will grab the win in race 2 of the NZ Touring Car Masters here on the streets of Adelaide. A massive win. 7 seconds down the road, the drag race between the 2 Tillies the line now. Brad ahead of Cam and Abel Nisa and King in 5th.